Hello. Hello. So I am going to go ahead and add David for our live today. Let's see if he's here, and he is. Okay, so I sent the request. Happy Wednesday, everyone. If you do have questions, be sure to, you can leave them in the chat actually. And I will do my best to get to those during this live. I'll definitely do my best to get to those. Okay. It says you joined, David, but I don't see you. Maybe you're coming. Are we having issues, technical issues? Says I've requested. Okay. You've requested. Let's see. Oh, okay. Accept. Okay, I'm accepting it. Okay.
There we go. We are here.
Hi. Yes, I can hear you well. Can you hear me well? Yes.
I can now,
Yeah.
yes. Tech issues,
I think we
Sonya,
both were
right?
trying to connect each other at the same
It's all
time.
good.
So, because it said you
Oh, there you
joined,
go.
but then I saw your request.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I'm great. How's
Hello,
it
friend.
going?
How are you?
Nice.
It's
I
well.
love
It
us
is
getting
well.
together to
It
do
is well, yeah.
these lives. I think they're very beneficial for people who
Mm-hmm.
are joining and also people who watch after we save it. So,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I wake each
yes.
morning. We do this monthly, by the way. So if you are watching this live, and you don't have time, you're like, oh, I don't have time to jump on this. We're going to do this live every time. So submit your questions. Submit your questions. I know we have some that we're going to dive into today.
Yes,
So thanks again
a
for
lot
the
of fun.
invitation. This is fun.
So,
Had a lot of fun
let me
doing
introduce
this. Yeah.
myself. I am LadySonya, the founder of Lady University, and I have here David Lee, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sonya. So I am David Lee, if you haven't figured that out yet. I am the co-founder of Daring Deeply, which is a life, leadership, and relationship coaching practice that is housed in a trauma-informed polarity frame. So we help men and women and couples and everyone, okay, however you identify, with healing masculine and feminine wounding and truly understanding where trauma wounds come from to begin to truly heal those in ways that are far more effective and efficient than you might think. So truly we are helping everyone with whom comes to us to heal their inner wounds to realize the most extraordinary relationship. So there's my intro, and I do that with my, by the way, I do that with my
Which
partner,
is doing
Paige Stewart.
sometimes I see that
And
live.
I
Yeah.
know we got to get Paige on here. I know we got to get Paige
I
on here.
don't
I don't know
think
if you
you
can
can
have
have
three
three, so she
windows
would have
on
to be
here.
with you.
It might be really tight.
Yeah.
It might be really, really tight. Or, you know what I would love, Sonya, actually, I'd love for the two of you
Yeah,
ladies
that would be
to
great.
jump on live and kind of do the feminine thing. That would be fantastic. But she and I are co-founders of our coaching practice, based here in the Nashville area, and she's delightful, and it's not just because I'm going to marry her. um, she's extraordinary, a feminine healer, as,
Nice.
as as she likes to identify herself. So here we are.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. And so,
let's talk
for
stuff.
those, they always ask the question, polarity. Can you explain the definition of polarity?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, those of you that remember, maybe from grade school, ladies and gentlemen, that there is a law of polarity that once upon a time you learned about the North Pole and the South Pole. And this is based in grounded science, that there are two opposing poles that, quite frankly, keep us on the planet. If we didn't have a North and South
Yes.
Pole, we'd fall off the planet. And so this law goes into also the energetics of humanity. And what we've come to understand is that polarity within the bounds of what we are speaking to is everyone possesses. It's not related to gender, but everyone possesses both masculine and feminine energy. And therefore, when it's tied to trauma, right, all of us possess masculine and feminine wounding in which needs to heal. So when we talk about polarity within the bounds of relationships, we often find that couples are what we define as inverted, that perhaps the woman who wants to be in her radiant feminine energy is found more often to be
Mm.
in her wounded masculine energy, leading and doing and all of those things. And she will attract a man who is more in his feminine energy, who is more passive, who is more indecisive. And that is actually polarity, right? You have masculine and feminine working together. However, it's inverted and it feels misaligned. And so that's where we're coming from today. So we have a lot of questions about, so how, from women, how in the world do I retrieve my feminine energy? How do I return to that little girl? How do I return to that woman? And men will say, I want my dominant, powerful, decisive masculine back, or maybe for
Wow.
the first time.
Nice. Okay, so you were saying that you can come together and the woman can be in her wounded masculine, and she will attract a man who is in his wounded feminine. So, I
Mm-hmm.
think the
Yep.
interesting question that some may pose is, well, even myself, before I was giving you an example of a friend of mine who attracted a certain type of guy, and I said, wow, it looks like it works for them, right? So why would you, and then we answered
Mm-hmm.
this the last
Mm-hmm.
live, but for those who are watching now, why would you want to change the dynamic of the relationship if I came to you a certain way and I attracted a certain
Mm-hmm.
type of guy and I'm okay with that? Why would I want to
Mm-hmm.
change?
Sure. Well, the first question I would ask is, it's okay not to change. It's absolutely okay. What I also say, and I was on another live broadcast yesterday, and they had a very similar question, Sonia. And what I've come to understand, we have an incredible presence on TikTok, and it's growing here on Instagram too. But we consistently have women who will ask that question and push back
I don't,
and
yeah.
challenge that and say, "Wait, I don't want to do that. Why it's not broke? Why fix it?" My human response back to that is, "Then why are you here?"
Yeah.
Right? Right? You're asking a
You're
question. There's
still
something within
curious.
your soul that says, "Wait a minute, yeah." Because if it doesn't
You don't
resonate,
want to hear
if
it.
what we are talking about doesn't resonate, you probably wouldn't be there. You probably wouldn't be there, and you're like, "No, this message isn't for me." In fact, often when I'm responding to individuals such as this on social media, I will say, it's okay to feel this. It's okay to feel whatever you want to feel. If this doesn't feel aligned for you, my channel isn't for you. Now, what often happens is like, whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm interested. I often say this. It's someone will throw a rock and then I will see them go, oh, I still want, What's going on in there?
Like
Wait, hold
I
on.
still
Don't
want to
close
be
your door.
a
Don't
what
close
do
the
they
door.
call it on the wall? A a bug on the wall or a fly on the wall. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a fly on the wall. I still want to know. Well, what that tells me is there is an energetic pull, perhaps deep within the feminine soul or the masculine. The masculine comes back and says, "Hey, my relationships is great, right? My woman leads. She makes more money. And it's working, right, for them." Then my question back is my dominant, powerful, strong, directive answer is, well, then why are you here? We love you, and why are you here, right? And so please come in because we're so interested, and everybody's welcome on all of my social media,
Oh,
even
wow.
the ones that come in and call me names, right? Everyone, because hurt people hurt people. People come in and say,
Like you
wait a
have
minute,
bullies.
this doesn't feel
I
right
can't
in my
believe you have
body right now, and
bullies.
that's okay. Oh my goodness. Go and check out the TikTok. We have almost 100,000 followers over there on TikTok. And so, you know how social media is. People like to roll grenades in the room and shut the door and run away. But that's because of their hurt nature. And it's quite frankly, their unprocessed, unreleased trauma, right? Which is part of our conversation too. So if someone comes to us, Sonya, and says, you know what, it's working good. We're inverted and it's working. That's great. Then they can move on to something else that feels more resonating for
Right.
their nervous system. However, there's a reason why they're there. And what we take our clients through is a very simple process to help them first to identify what their core energy is. So when women come to us, they're like, okay, so it's kind of working in my relationship, and my masculine partner, he's a little bit more passive, he is kind, he's nice natured, he's all of this, and I'm the more dominant personality, I get shit done, this type of thing. I said, okay, well, let's take this little quiz, this little test, right, to help you understand truly what is your core energy. And 100% of the time, we have not had it happen yet, where a woman will come in and she will identify, right? If she is heterosexual female, identifying with her core energy as feminine, she will identify as core feminine. And then the
I'm
layers
sorry, she
begin
would
to
identify
dissolve
as
around the
what?
shield and the mask as core
Wow.
feminine energy. Like she wants to reside in her core feminine energy. When we place her through this activity, this exercise, she's like, oh my goodness, that is truly what I want. I do want to be led. I do want to follow. I do want to surrender. I do want to be radiant. I do want to be the little girl who plays and laughs once again, or maybe for the first time. But that's a scary proposition for so many women who may be watching right now and the reason why there's some defiance attached to it is because there's been some confirming experiences in their past that said it's not safe to be feminine. It's not safe to be feminine. And
That's
we get
really
it.
why a lot
That's
of the
why
women
women will
say that
step
they
into
operate in the masculine because they say, if I don't do it, then, you know, who's going to? Or they
who's
say,
going to.
I don't trust a man to even do those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how we work with our clients is help them to know, first of all, that their journey, when we're speaking to women who have identified as their core energy as feminine, their journey is their journey alone. Okay? For them to try and get their masculine man to be masculine is a false journey. It will never happen. And
Someone says
ladies,
me,
can I
so
get an
true.
amen here? When was the last time you got your man to do anything? Really? Really, right? Without coercion, without manipulation, without nagging, without pressure, right? And by the way, when he's in his wounded feminine energy, that's when he succumbs to your nagging. So stop.
So you're saying
Okay?
when the woman
So
is
if you
nagging
want
and
your
he succumbs
masculine,
to that, he's really in his wounded.
oh, for sure. Yeah. If he says, okay, right, the happy wife, happy life, that's BS. That's not
So what
that's
is
not healthy.
healthy? What is
Right.
healthy if
So
that's not
the
healthy?
masculine is what is healthy? It's a fantastic question. So what is healthy? Well, healthy, as we define a healthy polarized relationship, is the masculine leads and the feminine follows, which can be incredibly triggering and polarizing for so many people to hear. Like, whoa, I'm not following a man. Well, the reason why you don't want to follow a man is because of your trauma wounding from confirming experiences of your past that said you cannot trust a man who leads because he will not get it done. And I understand. We completely understand that. However, your journey is your journey. And to heal those both masculine and feminine wounding, because we all have both, right? The more that you begin to heal those wounds, the more you will surrender into your feminine, whether or not your masculine partner steps into his masculinity, which
Yeah, so
this is
that's one question
terrifying
for
for some folks, because they're like, wait a minute, if I change and he
mm-hmm.
doesn't change, yeah, yeah. If I change and he doesn't change, then what? And then we say, then what? Because the reality is, and here comes some harsh truth, every relationship ends. Every single one. Every single relationship you've ever had comes to a completion, whether by choice or by death as we know it on this planet, right? So much shame, unfortunately, has been aligned with the completion of relationships, most notably divorce and marriage. But the fact is, if someone is growing, healing, transforming, and moving forward and healing their masculine and feminine wounding, and their partner is not, once upon a time, sometime in the future, someone's going to have to make a choice. Unfortunately, most people don't make the choice to release and free themselves to their journey. They hinder themselves by staying in the relationship and banking on
Do you think that
potential.
if one person starts to heal, the other can slowly follow suit? It's possible. I guess anything is
Absolutely
possible. Yeah.
possible. Absolutely possible. Anything is possible, for sure. And what I will also say, out of the other corner of my mouth, is the most healthy container in which for healing to take place is within a relationship. Okay. So when people come to us and they say, you know what, I'm not, those in the dating space, I'm not ready to be in a relationship because I need to heal first. Okay. That's a misnomer and a myth. Okay. You can't, by the way, no one heals all the way. you spend the rest of your days healing where you've come from. But the most safe, secure container is a healthy relationship in which to begin that healing. So yes,
Yeah,
everyone's going to
because
be on different
your
trajectories. And that's
spouse,
just
your
natural
partner, they are
humanity.
going to challenge you, and so you have to complete
Mm-hmm.
those tests, you know. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which, by the way, testing, women that may be watching this will be like, praise it, preach it, that'll preach all day on Sunday, is it is absolutely healthy for the feminine, the healing, healthy feminine energy to test the masculine. And when I say that, it means to test his ability to stand up to a powerful emotional expression. Okay? Not in a manipulative and
You
coercive way, like I'm going to test
said
him,
her
I'm going to play games.
emotional
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
expression.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I describe the masculine power and strength as a seawall, and the emotion, the powerful emotional expression as the waves crashing in. It is the masculine's responsibility to hold her, to
To
contain
protect.
her,
Yes.
to love her, to honor her, to cherish her, to protect her, to provide for her. And so when those waves get a little higher, guess what he has to do? He has to get stronger, right? So it is the wounded masculine man who is in his feminine wounding who calls women crazy or too much or you're too emotional, calm down. Which, by the way, gentlemen, if you're watching, never call a woman, never tell a woman to calm down. Never, ever, okay? Unless you want to get into serious trouble, okay? Because her very nature, the feminine's very nature, is to be chaotic. And chaotic, in my definition, is not bad. It's not a negative connotation. She is supposed to be everywhere. That's the beauty and the
I mean, I think
fluidity of a
that works.
feminine.
I
In
mean, if
fact,
someone,
if I don't,
the feminine has to be very fluid, as you're saying, because if she's following
mm-hmm,
the masculine, she has to be able to, if she trusts him, of course. And that's another thing. I honestly think
that's right.
that when women have these issues with, it's the man that you've agreed to. I mean, if you're having issues with a guy, that means that that's not someone you should be with. If you want to be with someone, I think you should trust that
Mm-hmm,
person. That's the whole reason why you accepted
mm-hmm,
to be in a partnership with them. But if she has
mm-hmm,
to be fluid, because that's part of her following someone's leadership. She can't be stubborn,
mm-hmm,
her ways of
mm-hmm,
following. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me give you an example from our relationship. So just a very small example. So it's date night. Okay. It is my responsibility in my partnership with Paige Stewart to plan, plot, implement, and execute the date. Period. Okay. So I'm going to secure the reservation. I'm going to secure the plans. I'm going to say the time and day. Okay. Now, here's where I want the fluidity of the feminine to inject. Okay? So as I'm making plans, I say, I'm going to take you out on Friday night. Directive, masculine. Okay? Which, by the way, when she gets those text messages, look out. Because she's like, okay.
Yes.
Because he's making a decision. Okay? And then I give her the opportunity and allow her to make choice. So I'll say, I'm taking you to one of three I know you love. This one, or this one. You choose. Then she has choice. She can be fluid. She can make the choice.
Sorry, we're breaking up a little bit. Yeah. You said she can be
good?
fluid,
Can you hear me?
and I lost the last part of that.
Okay. Yeah, so she can be fluid because I've given her choice. So I've included her fluidity, her femininity, right? Then she makes a choice and I say, I want you ready by 6 p.m. So now there's a masculine container. She knows that she needs to stop working, whatever else, to prepare for the fluid preparation. So she wants to choose what she wants to wear, how she's getting ready, all of that. I also say this, babe, I want you to wear the red dress or the black skirt. You look amazing in both. So now she has choice again. And it may be 4 outfits, whatever the case may be. But then she has some fluidity with shoes and makeup and hair and all the things. Right? So there is the masculine containment. But I want to include the choice and the fluidity of the feminine to come into that decision. If I don't have Paige Stewart's emotion, power, energy, radiance, ideation, creation, my decisions are dry, bone dry. They're only logical. I want her creativity to come into, and this is in our personal relationship, and obviously it bleeds into our professional relationship. What she brings to the business is ideation and creation. And she brings that to the business and has the most amazing ideas. She's the most incredible creative. And then I can take that and make decisions to move the business forward. I make the decisions to move forward with her.
So you work as it works together. Yes, the polarity of the relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah, go figure.
Nice.
Exactly.
I want to go back and say one thing. I like when you stated that when people come to your TikTok or your Instagram and they make the comments that they don't need these things, but they are there, and you say, well, that's fine. If things are working well for you, you don't need it. This is for those that need it. I wanted to share that the same thing happens with Lady University, with certain things that we post. A lot of times people, they get really, really emotional about certain things, or sometimes feisty about certain things. But a lot of times when we're posting things, it's not for everyone. It's for those who choose to take the advice or to take whatever we're sharing. But in general, you have free will. Yeah, what works for you, works for you, and what works for others works for others. And there's no, I don't want to say judgment, but there's no, you have to confine to what we believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we define that, Sonya, is they're not ready yet. Now, they may never be ready, and that's okay. And that's okay. So by the way, I want to highlight Angela is on here, and she said, this is complicated to do when you're so used to being in masculine energy. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Which is what we help women like you, Angela, right? Truly understand, like, how in the world do I begin to heal those masculine wounds and to soften into my feminine radiance? So yeah, I get it. We feel you. It is complicated when you're so used to a certain way. And what we often see when our clients begin to heal, if they're doing it singularly and they're in a relationship, is to be kind and compassionate and to be incredibly communicative. Because it can be terrifying to the other partner when the other partner starts to grow and do things and be a certain way. And they're like, where did my wife go? Where did my husband go? Wait a minute, who are you? You changed the music. Wait, we've been dancing to this particular tune for 10 years or 20 years or 5 minutes or whatever. And all of a sudden things begin to change. So be diligent in how you're communicating and why you're doing what you're doing. Why do you feel inside your body, men and women I'm talking to, why do you feel like it's necessary to begin to change, to begin to heal,
No,
and to begin to
she
transform?
said LOL. Yes,
Good
thank
to see you,
you.
Angela. Thank you for
So I
being
want to
here.
ask a question from our questions. This question:
Sure.
I have been doing work to heal my feminine energy. I now realize my fiance is operating. I now realize my fiance is operating in his wounded masculine spirit. How can I share this with him and navigate the relationship with an unequal polarity?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a question I probably see 10 times a day, right? Is how in the world, like we were just addressing that, right? In some sense that, okay, I'm beginning to change. How in the world do I communicate that to my partner? And in this case, to my masculine partner. I'm going to give a little bit of a, not a little bit, but a really important and powerful hack, ladies. So lean in. Okay, you ready? This is how, thank you, exactly. Follow Sonya's example. The primary way that a feminine partner communicates to her masculine partner is with I feel statements. I'm going to say that again. I feel statements. Okay. Not directive, not what are you doing, or I want this. Okay. It is I feel honored as you go to work each day. I feel protected when you plan the dates. I feel frustrated to know that you're not present with me right now. Okay. That's how you communicate. So for this particular question, how does she
So
communicate
what
to
if
her masculine man
the
about, oh
man,
my
he's
gosh,
in here
I'm shifting,
wounded?
I'm changing,
So you were just making the comment
uh-huh.
that he's okay. You're emotional. You need to stop feeling all these
Mm-hmm.
ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's tough. That's incredibly tough. Again, what needs to happen is that she needs to communicate why she's doing this, why she's communicating in her emotions, why she's communicating in her I feel statements. Not just one day she wakes up and says, I feel, when the whole relationship has been do this, don't do this, this is what I want, that type of thing. So it's super important. And that's what we help our clients do, is to craft that language. That's what Paige and I are so much in our practice, is we are communication masters, communication experts, in helping them come up with a script to help them navigate these shifts and changes. Now that script must be in their language, and we help them do that, right? But it's so important to be open and say, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm expressing from my emotion. This is why I'm leveraging I feel statements. So it is hard when the masculine comes in his feminine wounding or his masculine wounding and says, you're crazy. Why are you talking to me that way? That's weird. Stop that, right? Talk to me like you have been talking to me. Yeah, it's hard. It's really challenging. And if it's super important to you to begin to heal yourself, right? Again, it has nothing to do with how they're going to
Yes,
respond,
because
which is really tough.
that can
It's
be
really tough.
a lonely
One
road,
of our,
especially when you're
it
together
can be.
and you're healing, but you see that as you're healing, someone is kind of left behind.
Mm-hmm. It can be lonely, and it's also on the pathway to know, and it confirms that each individual's journey is theirs and theirs alone,
That's
and
beautiful.
it has nothing
Yes.
to do with anyone else. This is a foundational part of our coaching and teaching, is that as people, and because we have couples who will come to us often and say, we want you to help us fix our marriage. And I look back at them very soberly and very directly and say, there's no such thing as a marriage. There's no such thing as a relationship, in the sense of there's nothing there to fix. You must heal you. Now, whether or not your partner chooses to do so on their own, that's fine. In fact, we work with several
Independent.
couples, married couples, but I work with them one-on-one independently. Right now, what they choose to say behind the scenes, I hope they are. Hey, David was sharing me with this during this coaching session, and David was sharing me with this, and it begins to gel, and we've seen some incredible
Nice.
results of that.
So the second part of that question, yeah. So how can well, you said how can you share it is by the I statements, and navigate the relationship. So I guess navigating would be to share those I statements.
I feel statements. Yep, I feel because again, the root The absolute root of the feminine energy is emotion. She is supposed to be emotional. She is supposed to express all of her emotions. And by the way, ladies, those of you who are watching, let this man confirm to you, every single emotion that you ever feel is valid. Every single one. Nothing that you feel is wrong or over the top or too much. And now, how it's expressed and how you're navigating those healings, that's another question, or that's another topic. But know that you are supposed to be.
I think what you're saying is, yes, all emotions are valid, and the important thing is to get all of it out. Once you get it out, whatever needs to, whatever is connected with trauma, you will work through it. But you have to at least first get the emotions out.
Absolutely, yeah. And we are consistently teaching and coaching our clients on somatically how to draw that out of the body because it's trapped. That's the reality. So all of the baggage, all of the blockages that are preventing you from the relationship of your dreams, ladies and gentlemen, is because of unprocessed, unreleased trauma. And it must come out. You must begin to have a relationship with those traumatized parts from long ago. And the primary way of doing that is getting your journal out and start to get it out of your body and onto paper, right? Through meditation, through other somatic practices, through breath work, to prepare the body to begin those new relationships with those prior traumatized parts that are coming up and saying, you're not good enough, you're not thin enough, you don't make enough money, you're not a great mom, all the crap that can come up within women. And men are, you're not strong enough, you're not decisive enough, you're not fit enough, you don't make enough money. And those are all shaming parts of you. This is important to note. Okay, you are not traumatized, ladies and gentlemen. There are parts of you that are traumatized. Okay, so you're not broken, you're not a hot mess, and you're not effed up. Okay, you don't need to be fixed. You need to heal.
Great, thank you. That's really, really good. Really good. All right, so let's get to another question. Let's see. Let's talk about this first question. Is there a such thing as modern day femininity? And I don't like the way women were so passive back in the 60s. I hear that a lot. Whenever I discuss femininity on my channel, people say, well, this is not the 60s anymore. I'm not my grandmother. Yeah, so what's your take on that?
Yeah. Well, what we know as far as energy is concerned, it's back to the original question we had at the top. Like, what is polarity? Well, polarity is based in science, right? And I've got my screen open right underneath you. I'm not ignoring you. But the feminine energetics, the healthy feminine energetics, sensitivity, I'm just going to read them off. Sensitivity, receptivity, creation, expression, intuitiveness, authentic, playful, restful, firm boundaries, body confidence, asks for what she wants, enjoys the process, fluid, speaks truth, listens and shares, creates community, speaks with love, radiance, sensuality, sexuality, wisdom, patience, and flirtation. Now, the ladies that are watching this, if any of those ring true, that's feminine energy and has nothing to do with time and space.
When you read those out, I got happy. Like, oh, I like all of this.
Bingo. Exactly, Sonya. Exactly. Look at the energy that just moved through you. You're like, That's right, which is playful, right? Playful, which was on the list. Playful, the feminine is supposed to move. She's supposed to dance. She's supposed to feel, right? And unfortunately, adulting, which is really a way of stripping energy away, right? It's like, oh, I got an adult today, so I can't play, I can't laugh, I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't be flirtatious, I can't show cleavage, whatever is going to make you feel all woman, right? All feminine. So now the question is, I don't want to be my grandma. The 1950s and 60s and whatever history has shown. What's interesting about that is that it could come across as permissiveness, as passivity, as weakness, and that is not what femininity is. So if it came across that way in the 50s and 60s, where it felt like a woman was being adversely submissive, yeah, maybe she was. That is not what we're talking about. What we're talking about, there is an incredible amount of
It's sort of
radiant
like a
power
dinner
in the
life in
feminine.
a sense.
It's why we chase it. Exactly. It's why the masculine pursues it. And by the way, when a masculine identifies a feminine presence, he will stop at nothing to have her. So this is a little side note here. Ladies, if your man is not pursuing you on the regular, okay, it's time to do an audit on that relationship. Okay, it's not your job, ladies, to pursue a man, chase a man, fix a man.
Right
Ever.
now, that's
Okay?
like the trend right now. That, oh, I like to do this for him, reciprocate this. It's kind of like this equal thing,
Yep.
and
Yes.
I cringe when I hear that. I cringe.
And that is, yeah. So I have a whole series, and this is a foundational teaching in our practice, is the feminine thrives in praise. The masculine thrives in challenge. Ladies, stop praising and stop giving to your man. Now, this is a very polarizing thing. Like, whoa, wait, I'm a giver. No, you're not. Okay, that's a wounded energy. Okay, you are giving, ladies. If you call yourself a giver, it's because you're giving to get, because it's your natural core feminine energy to receive. And so you're hoping, oh, if I give to my man, if I make him feel wanted and desired, then he's going to give back.
Like you're not deserving to receive.
That doesn't normally happen. Right. Yes. That's a whole nother, exactly, Sonya. That's very well said. So your worthiness, ladies, has nothing to do with your man or your daddy or your mama or your coach or whatever, right? Has everything to do with you, because you are worthy regardless. Right? There is no room, there is no community, there is no space on this planet in which you are not welcome. Okay? You are worthy. Everyone is worthy to be where they are. Okay? Now, we've been beaten down, and there have been trauma layers placed upon our spirit and our soul that says, you don't belong, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not sexy enough, whatever. Right? But that's trauma wounding in which needs to heal. So, yeah. So when I read all of those feminine energetics, again, we saw what Sonya did.
Yeah,
that
is me. Yeah,
24/7, 365.
Yeah, so I think on the
exactly.
last live we were talking about that when you were saying that you read off these. I think you read off the difference, and you said, does that feel like you? You were saying for the woman that should feel like her, and if that doesn't feel like her, then that's something that you work through. Yeah, I think we have another question because we're slowly wrapping up.
So,
this is from Gracie. How do you stop giving when you're so used to giving to your man? Smooth transition?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. Thanks, Gracie, for being here. How do you stop giving? Well, just like anything else, it's a slow process, right? When you have been used to and have received praise from your giving, it can be a scary proposition to stop giving. But again, the core energy of the feminine is to receive, always. Now, I get this question often. Like, well, is it okay to give him a card on his birthday? Yes. Okay. Right? Like, when I said Paige will give me small little
thoughtful things,
small gifts. Now, here's how I will define that. A gift that supports his dominant masculine power. Okay? So you got to know your man. What supports his leadership? There's a gift. Okay? What supports his masculine? Not giving out of the fact of you would like to get that. Okay? So how do you stop giving? Slowly. You communicate with your man, Gracie, and say, hey, I want to be more in my feminine. I know it to be true. I'm a receiver. Now, in an inverted relationship in which she has been giving and he's been receiving, when he's craving praise, he's in his wounded masculine. Ladies, if your man is craving praise and attaboys, he's not your partner, he's your son.
Good.
Okay, and you don't need another child. You do not need another child. Okay, so stop giving, because giving is a source of praise, and praise is reserved for you, ladies. Your core energy is receptive to praise. And so let me speak to the men real quick. And I know the women are going to be like, I'm listening too. Okay, gentlemen, you must be praising your woman on the regular, all the time. And not just that she has a nice ass. I want you to be specific about what you believe to be true about her. So I'm very specific. In fact, I just did it right before I got on here live. I sent Paige a text based on some content that she just released, a post on Facebook. And I was very specific in how I praised her. I said it was directive, it was inspiring, it was convicting, and I praised her. I said, babe, you are amazing. You are an incredible communicator. Exactly. Do you see what Sonya just did? Right? So it's incredibly important, gentlemen, to be praising your woman with specificity. And how do you know how to be specific? Learn your woman. Get your PhD in your woman. That's what I always say, right? Learn your woman. Learn every inch of her. Learn her body. Learn her spirit. Learn her soul. Okay?
That means
praise her.
You have to pay attention.
Just praise her.
Yeah.
You have to be present. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Let me read something.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say that, you know, and also people grow and evolve, so you have to continue to learn your spouse.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're always learning, always be learning, right? So I'm going to read this off. And so ladies, be prepared. Get ready with your pen and paper. This is also a way to understand, is my core energy really feminine? And if it is, then I can go this direction. I can receive an anchor and know, okay, I have healing to do. Okay, so I'm going to read this list and see if it sounds arousing and attractive to you. Okay, this is masculine healing energy. Focused, confident, humble, logical, stable, safe, assertive, grounded, resilient, protective, purpose-driven, secure in self, holds space, direct, structured, consistent, takes responsibility, honors the feminine, seeks to understand self, aware, discerning, and decisive. So ladies, if you're attracted to all of that, that is a masculine man. Right? So if right now you're thinking, I'd like to have me some of that. Yes. Okay. Then you are drawn and attracted to a masculine man. Therefore, by default, you have inside of you your core.
Yes. I love that. Because I always share that with I was sharing that with a friend of mine once, and I said a lot of times for the woman, in order to figure out how she should be, who are you attracted to, you know, and think about that that man. What type of woman would that man be attracted to? And if he's in his masculine, I don't think he's attracted to a masculine woman who's in her masculine.
No, he's not. No, he's not. I will also say this, and this is kind of on the counter, and this may be very convicting. So I'm gonna read what the feminine wounding is. So ladies, if you identify with any of this, this is not what a masculine man is drawn to. Okay. Low self-worth, afraid to speak up, easily attached, victim mentality, martyrdom, wants to be saved, shame, weak boundaries, codependent, over-apologizing, over-explaining, manipulative, coercive, seeks external validation, desperate for love, oversharing, opportunistic, vindictive, people-pleasing, powerlessness, fears being alone, needy, anxious, and overwhelmed.
I love that. Me, myself,
so,
I
if
was
you are
in
navigating,
some of those. I didn't even know that I was in that until I started naturally healing. And then I went back and looked at, wow, I've grown. Before I was this type of person, or I was always overly emotional, or always, what did you just say? You just said pleasing, people pleasing, overly apologizing.
Sure.
And then I've grown from those things. Yeah.
Yep. And there you go. There is some reassurance that Sonya just here live was like, yeah, I have grown. I am more grounded in my feminine energy, right? So ladies, if any of those terms, those energies resonate within you, the first thing I'll say is it's okay. It's okay to recognize. We have to become aware first.
Yeah.
We can't just wake up one day and start to change. If we don't know, we don't know. And that's okay. So much of us are ignorant to this work until we're not. And so, the transition of people moving and finding these types of messages and this type of work, and then moving into a space where they want to significantly begin to heal and work with us or work with you, we go from awareness to integration. And it's an integration is when you
Nice.
begin to actually
Thank you
see
so much,
results.
David. This was a great, great, great live.
You're welcome.
And I think that we got a lot of questions, got a lot, not, I can't speak right now. We got a lot of nice questions. If you have more questions, feel free to
Mm-hmm.
DM either one of us. And this, like David said, yes, we're doing this
Mm-hmm.
every month. So please send your questions
Mm-hmm.
over and we'll be
Absolutely.
sure to answer them
Yeah,
on the next live.
absolutely. I'll want to steer before we jump off here, and I know you probably have something to plug as well. Go to, we have a
Oh, I
brand new
just saw
website. Paige and I
that.
have a brand
Yeah,
new
I
website.
have to
It's
check it out.
daring-deeply.com. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, that's right. That's right. So it's daring-deeply.com. You got to have the dash. I don't know where Daring Deeply will take you, so I don't know. But it's daring-deeply.com. On the website, there is a free download called the Relationship
Nice.
of Your Dreams Starter Kit. Okay? Absolutely free. We're giving that away. It's on the homepage. So go to daring-deeply.com and click on, you'll find more information about feminine and masculine energetics and trauma healing and all the very specific niche in which we help
Yes,
folks.
yes,
So
yes. I'm
go to
definitely jumping on as
daring-deeply.com
soon as I
and
hop off
find our
this
stuff.
live.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right.
I love it.
Yes, you're
I love
so
it. You're
welcome.
welcome, Angela.
Nice.
You're welcome. She says thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. Thank you,
All right.
Sonya.
Until next
It's been a
time.
delight. All right.
Bye.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that concludes our live. Again, if you have any questions for the next Q&A, be sure to follow both of us. And also, you can send a DM. And that's all I have. Let's see.